Can I take you back to 2002? Can I take you back
Sure.
to September 12th, 2002? I think you know what happened on that day when you sat across from Netanyahu in Congress. And of course, he famously responded to your question. That question, of course, has surfaced and people are sharing it all over the internet, of course. Once again, I love seeing you ask him, are there any other countries that we should be concerned about? And Netanyahu at that point turns to you and says, he snaps at you, by the way, in his condescending way. But let me finish what I'm talking about here, as if he holds court over the entire U.S. Congress even then. And he tells you that one of the main concerns is Iran. So, 24 years ago, he was telling you this. And Congress, I don't know, stood fast against it. I don't know. But what do you think has changed now in 24 years? Has Israel managed to get its teeth and claws into just about every corner of Congress, and that's what's changed?
Well, they certainly have a greater hold on Congress. There's no question about that. And they've been impactful in elections. AIPAC in particular has helped to elect or defeat members of Congress, depending on where they stand on favoring Israel. Going back to September 12, 2002, you have to remember that it was Netanyahu who came to the United States to beat the drum for war against Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
He helped to propel the weapons of mass destruction narrative that led the United States Congress to, in October of 2002, to pass a resolution that put us on a path to war with Iraq. That was part of Netanyahu's mission. Now with Iran, his mission has been the same for 30 years. When it comes to Iran, he's been BB1 note. Iran could have a nuclear weapon at any time. I mean, what he would do was to conjure up this hatred towards Iran. And I would say, generally speaking, American people aren't really aware of what our government has done in Iran. They don't know about 1953, when we overthrew a democratically elected government of Mossadegh. They don't understand how we set in motion the forces that led to the 1979 Iranian Revolution. They don't understand the psychology of the Iranian people, who are not afraid. They don't understand the technological advancement of Iran, which is not a pushover like Iraq, which had 1% of the military capability of the United States, Venezuela, which really had no defense at all. This is a technologically advanced nation of 93 million people who have the capacity to fight back, and they will with everything they have. And when I spoke to Netanyahu, what was interesting, I talked to him afterwards out in the hall. In addition to what, the exchange that everyone can see on the internet, I talked to Mr. Netanyahu out in the hall. We have some mutual acquaintances from Cleveland. And so I, began with that. And then I said, look, you have all of these ambitions to go after all these countries, including Syria and Libya, Syria, and Iran. I said, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it?
Right.
And his response was, oh, no, you have to do it, you have to do it. And there is this toxic relationship that's developed between Israel and the United States, which has brought about carnage in the Middle East and has ruined any hope that America would have to try to be an honest broker of peace in the region. And we have, the equation is flipped. We've been Israel's cat's paw. And why is Netanyahu doing this right now? Because he's trying to avoid going to jail. I mean, that's the bottom line. His coalition in the Likud with Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, who are as objectionable people as you will ever find involved in government at any level anywhere, came about because Netanyahu is in trouble politically in Israel, And so you take this admixture of his political troubles, of his playing with fire of the greater Israel, whether it's from the Euphrates to the Nile or wherever, and Trump's lack of understanding that he's not a king, he's a president, and that as president he's governed by laws, and that's out the window. So you put these kind of things together, and you have the basis for a wider war.
Disaster, really.
Well, don't you hate when people say, "I told you so"? Yeah, that's me, actually, because I did tell you. Sorry, but I told you that gold and silver were going to reap the benefits of excessive money printing, the Fed just printing money like crazy, overvalued markets, global unrest. It's here. It's happened. Gold and silver have both soared to all-time highs. So I hope you called our friends at Lear Capital and you bought some. If you didn't, trust me, it's not too late. Experts are predicting even higher prices ahead. And they get it. They know what's coming. Isn't it time, folks? Get yourself some gold and silver today. Call the best in the business. I personally use them. So does Natalie. We both do. And our kids do as well in their IRAs. Lear Capital, it's a free phone call. There's no obligation to purchase, just education information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. I'm sure there are many of you that have called and haven't purchased yet for whatever reason. Don't make the same mistake twice. Now is the time to get some gold shipped directly to you or shift some dollars in your retirement accounts over to physical gold and silver. It's easy to do. Natalie and I have done it for both, and I've been extremely satisfied with Lear's knowledge, their service, their prices. I urge you to call today and learn more. Call them 1-800-613-3557 or go to learredacted.com, and you can receive up to $20,000 in free bonus medals with a qualified purchase.
Now, as you mentioned, Congress is complicit, which means that Americans who feel furious about this, like I do, don't have any way to stop it. Now, I've seen some optimists on X saying, oh, once there's ground troop casualties, Americans won't abide this. We already don't. There was no support for this war before it began, but we can't do anything, which is making me so crazy. You can hear I'm getting a little hysterical. I am a woman. I will take that point of privilege. Now, last week, the day before this war began on Friday, Gallup published a poll. And for the first time, it showed that Americans expressed more sympathies with Palestinians than Israelis. Support for Israel has plummeted, which made me think that it was now or never, because Americans would not be dragged into this going forward. But what now? What do we do now? We just sit here and watch this play out? What can we do?
Well, I think we're at a point where people have to become visible in their objections to this war. They have to demand their members of Congress take action to cut off funds. They have to demand their member of Congress start the discussion about an impeachment of the president. Now, I know that, here's the thing about impeachment. They don't have the votes right now. They might have the votes in the House, possibly, to render an indictment. And there's a justification for it. But they need 2/3 of the Senate. That's not going to happen right now. But the process itself is part of curtailing an administrative abuse, extreme abuse of power. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court's 2024 decision in the case of Donald Trump has given a great measure of impunity to the chief executive of the United States, and it's become ever more difficult to prosecute, not just before, but it's difficult to prosecute after someone leaves office if they've committed a grave offense against peace and humanity. The real power right now is with the Congress. Cut off funds or start the impeachment process for the purposes of pulling back the administration's use of aggressive warfare. Absent that, people have to wait till November to vote in the elections and indicate their displeasure with the administration to voting up or down certain members of Congress. But as you pointed out, we have a uniparty. And then the issues of Israel, there is not much difference between Democrats and Republicans. So, the Democrats taking over the Congress will restrain Trump somewhat in his grifting and rapaciousness. But it's not going to change things in the Middle East.